All right. So I'm not saying I was wrong about Durant. Not yet. Not even close. It's one game. Don't we still have time to suck? So nobody saw that intro coming. Stu, how we doing? You got your victory cigar? Thank God. Look, y'all didn't want to deal with us two old men. If we lose four in a row, the video would just be flames. It would just be fun. We wouldn't even be here. Okay, not the auto.
We'd have paper bags over our head.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, so
it's just a shame. I mean, 6 points down the toilet bowl.
Yeah.
We'd still be neck and neck with Colorado. Again, I'm not using Colorado as the benchmark of where we need to be. They're in the West, so let them win the President's Cup. But obviously, we're now a point ahead of Tampa, even though they have a game in hand.
Yeah.
That's all I care about. But
right.
We were at 10 losses. Now we're at 13. But
right.
I guess we would do to stink up the place for a few games, but I don't even know what happened coming off that road trip where, we won, we won a couple of, 3 games, but
right. Well,
it's in the past. I mean, obviously last night they sent a message that, we're back.
Right.
I mean, it's probably one of, and you can't pinpoint one game to say that was the best game the Panthers played the whole season, but from a tactical standpoint, last night was probably they just completely shut Ottawa down from the opening whistle.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely made a point of telling you the guys were every shift, every player was hustling.
Yep.
They were checking.
Yep.
They just, like I said, total domination, even though the score didn't reflect it, because in my opinion, that could have been an 8-0 game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's one thing that you're talking about what happened in those 3 games. And it's one of the things that Goldie said at the end of the last game was we were just getting outplayed at goaltender. And I said it last night. I said, look, Edmonton, we scored 3 goals and we had a million shots. And this game, we scored 3 goals and had a million shots. But Bobrovsky was the difference. He made those saves in the first period on the breakaways.
Exactly.
What's funny is after we gave up the third period breakaway that was shorthanded, I picked up my phone and I opened up Twitter and I'm getting ready to. And as I'm tweeting it, I'm thinking, I'm not going to get this tweet out because we're going to score. And sure enough, because I was going to tweet in all caps, stop giving up breakaways shorthanded. So I was halfway through that tweet and I was like, we're going to score. And boom, we put it in the back of the net and I had to delete the damn tweet before I sent it. So
yeah, you got to watch what you tweet, my friend.
All I had to do was bitch internally and we scored. So it worked. I don't even have to do it publicly now.
But yeah, the difference was definitely, Bob in that first period.
Yeah.
I mean, that second save on the first breakaway was better than the first save.
Yeah.
I mean, I was really expecting a 5-hole goal.
Mm-hmm.
And then, again, we're totally outplaying Ottawa and we have nothing to show for it. And they score like on their first shot. I think they might have had 2 or 3 shots on goal at that point, and they 5-hole it, and then we're down 1-0, and then all the air goes out of the balloon. But he came up. I mean, he obviously knows he's been pretty bad the last few outings.
Yeah.
So hopefully Vezina Bob is going to be here for a little bit because Vezina Bob is not present.
Well, me, I'll find an angle to bitch about or be concerned about. And I was thinking this last night. This is true. I was watching it and I was like, this is nice. This is great. But once again, this is after a 4-day break. So Let me see you do it on your third and fourth and fifth game in a row, because that's what you're going to have to do in the playoffs. And
Yep,
that's what
that's
we've
a
seen
very good. That's a
Vasilevsky,
very good point.
you know.
Very good
So
point.
yeah. So we'll see.
That's why we need Spencer Knight back up. And
I
I was thinking, I don't understand. He has a 44 shot shutout.
yeah.
Why is he still down there?
I said it last night. I think he's down. I think we're going to get like a Varlamov type. I think we're going to get a backup goaltender for the playoffs. I think they just quietly, because it starts to make sense in retrospect, looking back now, because you know how this team is with information, right? So you know that they could send Knight down, kind of give the word out to the media guys, look, just don't ask. Nobody's asking about Spencer Knight. So now in hindsight, it looks like you send them down, everybody just be hush hush about it. We got this kid Johansson. We really don't plan on him playing. Oops, he had to play once. And now people are starting to, at least me, and I've seen a few other people sort of think, I think we're gonna get another goalie.
Do you think it's a mentality like what they did with Markstrom, where they don't want that they saw some things that they didn't like, and they realize he's 20 and that he's the future. Obviously, Bob's viable right now.
Right.
And they don't want to rush him and ruin him like I think they did with Markstrom.
I think that's part of it. I think to that point, I think they looked at it and said, we don't want to end up in a situation where this kid is the guy in the playoffs and blows it. Because if we get Varlamov and Bobrovsky, something happens and Varlamov goes out there and does what he does and we don't win, he's not the future. He doesn't have that on his record the way Spencer would. So I think they saw enough, and for all we know, it's exactly what you and I have been talking about, and it's his puck handling behind the net. It's just one thing doing that the first 40 games of the season. You screw up handling the puck behind the net in the playoffs, it's over quick. And so it could simply be that that they've said he's just not ready for that. We had it last year, but by the time he was in the series, I mean, he was called on to save the series. It was going to be a miracle if he won that series at that point. So I think it's a combination of what you're saying. They don't want to ruin him. And I think their feeling is like Zito, like you said, they want to win now. Whatever move he has to make to improve, I think he's going to make it. And,
Yeah, well, he's running out of time, man.
Yeah. What the hell?
He's got 17 days to do something.
No, he's got less than that, because we got 4 games in the next week, and then we go on that road trip, and we've got the back-to-back out west games. We got to have whoever we're going to have a backup goaltender. It's got to be them, because he's going to play. You know what I mean?
Now you keep mentioning Varlamov. What's the status with him? Where is he?
I've heard the name a few times. That's as far as I've looked into it. And I think somebody said Corpusalo too. I heard that name out there as a possibility. So, but I haven't.
Yeah, well, that would probably be more because Zito, with his Columbus connection,
right?
And then obviously Bob with Corpusalo connection. I don't know if those guys got along, because I think Corpusalo basically took Bob's job away.
Yeah, right.
But,
so that'd be interesting.
But I definitely agree that situation needs to be solidified first.
Yeah.
If that's the game plan, and it's looking like that's the game plan.
Yeah, I mean,
because I think Knight would have been called up by now.
Yeah, that's the thing. If we were bringing him up, it stopped making sense when then they gave Johansson a game. At that point. So
yeah, the day after.
Yeah. Well, once we put Johansson in, it stopped making sense why we had Spencer Knight down, other than we're going to leave him down. So look, every time I say that in a video, I say, please let me post this video, and I'm already wrong, and Knight is up. But we thought that was going to happen before this homestand. We keep thinking it, and it's silence. And that's the biggest thing for me, is the absolute silence. Like even Goldie and Randy haven't said, they haven't like alluded to. Spencer Knight's down there for a little while to work on his game and come back. Nobody is. It's like the word got out. Everybody's shut up, and the only problem is they can't shut me up because I'm not credentialed. All right, so the game. Let's talk about the third period with the fights. They kept going at our guys, and then our guys were kicking their ass.
Yeah, well, I noticed rewatching the game, that whole situation with Hornquist and Brady Tkachuk started before that.
Yeah.
I think Hornchuk gave him a little shot in the back of the legs, and then Tkachuk retaliated with another thing. They just were jarring at each other. I'm not going to say way before, the hit against the boards,
Right.
but obviously it was a frustration. It was just a cheap. I mean, I don't know what he was thinking, Tkachuk. Cross-checking Hornquist right in front of our bench.
Yeah.
It's just too bad that that those guys couldn't have been left alone to duke it out. I mean, I hate when the linesmen,
right,
get between guys. I mean, they should just let them go.
Yeah.
And then see what happens. I mean, look at Gudis tackled that.
Yeah.
That guy, and of course, he gets up and he gets ejected, and then he starts, chirping,
yeah.
with no teeth. I thought that was
that was
hilarious.
great. I mean, that right there is an advertisement for hockey.
But it really sucks that that the linesmen get they get involved in at that point, and the game's over and whatnot, and just let them go.
Yeah, and it's so random too. It's like what was funny was they showed at the it was with the Gudis thing, and then with Lomberg, they showed the angle from behind them, right? And you got the one linesman desperately trying to get in, break him up, but behind that is the other linesman, and he's just standing there like this, just watching the whole thing, just like a fan, just like, this is good. And then the other linesman kids said, come on. And Lomberg was whooping that guy's ass, and I think that's what happened. I mean, Lomberg I didn't know an arm could move that fast. If he ever quit hockey, he'd have a second career as a MMA fighter, because I mean, I never seen an arm move that fast. And so I think the refs said enough is enough there, because it was
was Josh Brown.
Yeah, that was Josh. I know. Yeah. It's funny because
you do remember, short memory. Didn't Josh Brown get his ass whooped every time he fought?
Yeah. He was supposed to be our guy, and then every time he'd go, he tried, because we were like, he's our guy, right? Well, at least he tried, but yeah, he's
6'6". I mean, he was a redwood, but I don't know. Lomberg got up. I mean, that was a vicious hit.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got his bell rung, and he got up like nothing happened. I love Lomberg's the best.
Yeah.
You just gotta love the guy, and every time he scores, of course,
Yeah.
I love that kid. But again, the things with fights is just I always worry about these guys punching helmets and breaking their hand.
Yeah. No, I understand that.
We can't afford to lose a guy going into the playoffs, but
no. And then other than that, like you like to talk about, it was the dirty goals last night. We thought that first one from Marchment, I mean, his skate hit it, he got pushed into it. It's funny, everybody missed that part. We're all watching to see what his skate did, and if he hit the goaltender, and then the refs are the ones that say, yeah, but the other guy pushed him into the goaltender. So,
and that happens so many times. Okay, that happens so many times, and they end up calling the guy for goalie interference.
Right.
Not taking into consideration that the only reason that he hit, the player hit the goalie is because he got pushed into him.
Right.
So I personally think he kicked it in. Maybe, in the heat of the moment, it happened really quick. I mean, obviously, you get to see, have a different perspective when it's in slow motion.
Right.
But I'll take it.
Yeah.
Um,
And that was a gutsy call that paid off. I mean, it kind of paid off. It was a it was a gutsy call to challenge it, because then if they don't get the challenge, we ended up with 2 minutes of 5-on-3, which when that happened, I'm like, there's no way we're not going to score here, right? And we looked terrible on that 5-on-3. I was watching it and I'm like, do they got three guys out there? Because it seemed like it was 5-on-5, you know?
Wait a second. I think they called the goalie interference on Hornquist, not Marchment. If you look at the play again, Hornquist is right in Forsberg's face. I mean, he's outside of the blue paint, so
Right.
he has a right to be there.
Well, I
But
thought,
there was contact. I don't know, to me, it wasn't enough contact to take Forsberg from making a save, but
right, right.
still, that's what
Yeah.
I think they called the goalie
You
interference
mean the
on, not
challenge,
not the
for the
not the
challenge?
Marchment thing.
I
But
see.
yeah, 5-on-3. I mean, not we
Yeah,
had 9 power plays last night,
I know. I know.
and again, it, every single time Ekblad has the puck, you know what he's going to do with it,
Right. Yep.
and that it just it just boggles my mind how we don't have more breakaways against us. I mean, it's really ridiculous that I just hate that play.
Yeah. No, I know.
I hate that back pass.
Well, the one thing he had done, that I like, he put Marchman up there on the power play, and Montour. They look, especially Marchman. I think that's going to be a move that worked out. And really, because we were concerned. I mean, Marchman looked good on that top line. He looked like he fit in. So then you start talking about, well, are we going to go into the postseason with Toronto, because that's supposed to be one of the trade pieces. If we get a guy, he's got to be one of the guys that's traded. So I know there's just going to be so many moving parts, and I talked about this in the live stream yesterday. It's like the hole that we have to fill now was the one that we did not expect at all, and that's a backup goaltender. If we're not bringing Spencer Knight up, which is fine. I'm not saying he is or isn't ready. Let the coaches decide that. But that was not something we anticipated at the beginning of the season, needing to expend assets on. So now I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, and I'm looking at the depth chart, and I mean, backup goaltenders, the first thing to fix. And depending on what we give up, another winger is almost even more important than yet another defenseman. It's like we've got a little bit more, a few more issues than I think Zito thought, because we plugged Spencer Knight in the backup. We thought we were good. And you kind of figured between Vetrano and Tippett, one of those guys was going to take the role and run with it in the top 6, and we'd be good. And those three things not happening, now we kind of look at it as, we don't want to give up too many assets, but we do have a couple of needs, I think, if we really going to want to go out there and compete.
Yeah, see, the one thing that I don't like, I mean, I could not like it, doesn't matter. But now putting Marchman on the first line kills the third line.
Right.
This Frankie's not Marchman, and there's something's missing with Lundell and Reinhart.
Right.
The chemistry that Marchman had with those two guys was great. But
right,
hey,
right.
if it improves the first line, then I'm all for it. I don't know where Carter Verhaeghe is these days.
Shooting the puck into the
obviously
goaltender.
He's not scoring. I don't like he's becoming a little bit of a puck hog. Which I hate.
Yeah.
He's just trying to do so much. I could see that he's really frustrated because he hasn't scored.
Right.
But
right.
I'm not liking his play right now.
Well, it's funny. I noticed that last night. He keeps getting these open. I mean, like, he was open last night. He had time, and instead of making the extra move, I mean, he took the shot, but just right into Forsberg's glove. I mean, Forsberg didn't even have to move. I think Verkhage will be okay.
I don't like the fact that he's in the offensive zone and he's not dishing the puck off to somebody.
Well,
He's just keeping it. I mean, Trocheck
Right.
did the same thing. He's
Right.
just keeping it and trying to, do it all by himself, which, you can't do it. But
Well, you look at that
if
line.
you say he's going to be okay, then
Yeah,
maybe you should say that he's not going to be okay.
I think what he needs is, because you look at the way that line's been constructed, he's not going to pass it to Barkov because he knows Barkov's just going to pass it in puck back to him, right? And then he doesn't have any chemistry with anybody else on the other side because it's a different guy every night or every 2 nights. I think that's part of it, is that, the way that there's we've talked about this. There's no really, if you look at that line, he's the sniper.
He needs to score a couple of goals
Right,
to get
right.
him,
Yeah,
get him out of his slump.
yeah.
He seems to be like Vetrano. He's a streaky player, but
Right.
something. I mean, we got to take a step back now and I want to just like analyze what you just said, because like you said, who would have ever thought that goaltending would be probably at the top of the priority list?
Right.
And then obviously defense. By the way, Sherrod had 2 goals last night for Montreal.
Oh,
he looked really good. I mean, right before we came on, I was watching, last night's NHL Network highlights. By the way, the Panther game wasn't at the top of the list. We've been moved down. It just goes to show you, after 3 losses, that we're moved down to the middle of the pile.
Yeah.
But yeah, and if we have 3 holes to plug, we only have so many assets to give.
Right.
I mean, what's the priority right now?
To me,
is it a backup goalie? I mean, and then again, who's available?
Right.
And how much is it going to cost us? And what is, the asset that we're giving up is going to take away from the next priority, which is defense. But again, is the defense really that crucial of a priority? I mean, I think Carlson's been playing decent. Again, the Ekblad Uyghur situation, that's my biggest worry.
Right.
And it does not seem like Brunette is going to split them.
No.
Just being stubborn about that. But
I think I
don't even know why he doesn't, just give it a go and experiment and just, mix him up for one game and stick to it and see what happens.
Right. Well, the game, if that yesterday would have been a game to do that, he's not going to change anything after a shutout. That's for sure. But in terms of the order of need, I think realistically, and it's going to depend on what we give up to get a backup goaltender, because unless they're just giving Spencer Knight as many games as possible and then plan on bringing him back up, which seems less likely by the day. At that point, if you're leaving Knight in the AHL, then backup goaltender is the biggest need, because you can't go into the playoffs with Johansson. That's the end of the season right there. Like if Varlamov, Korpisalo, we still got a shot. You know what I mean? We still got a shot.
Those guys are around $5 million.
Yeah. So that's the thing, is that, so then if we have to make that move, then we're going to have to clear some cap space. So who'd we give up? And now where's that need, right? So we might end up, we could end up creating leaks and having to plug them.
Yeah, and a Tippett and Vetrano is not going to cover
no.
They just don't make enough money to cover the cap that we're going to need. So
right.
We're in a freaking pickle here.
We're in a pickle, and the name, because you said there might be a name that we've all be surprised about, and I just want to be clear. I want to be absolutely dead clear that I do not want this to happen, and I hope this doesn't happen. But we got Achari sitting there on the bench, and we got some needs that might take some cap space, and Hornquist has a 5.3 cap hit. And I really don't think that's going to happen, but I'm sure they've had to think
we
about
need
it.
him in the playoffs.
I know, I agree 100%. I agree. I don't want that to happen.
I mean, look what he did. Look what he did on basically on all the power plays, because he had, he was the guy involved with the Marchment goal.
Yeah. The only thing is, if we get one of these goalies and we want them to eat some salary, then that's going to cost us another player. So, which I'm okay with, because it doesn't look as though, Brunette wants to give Heponiemi or Dianasenko a real opportunity anytime soon. And, then we've talked about, I mean, we got to sign Marchment to a contract, right? He's a free agent. That's the most important thing during the off season, really. He's the number one pressing need, in my opinion, because he wherever he goes, he makes that line go. But I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at it and I'm going, man, my concern is we give up too much to get the backup goaltender, and now we got to find a way to fill that need, and we won't be able to fill all the needs. And so I wouldn't want to be in Bill Zito's shoes right now, because then he has to decide where he's going to roll the dice. Is he going to roll the dice with Spencer Knight at backup and plug the other holes and have no problem doing that? Or do you get a backup goaltender in, which it's going to create more holes to get a guy in here? So
see, if Knight was back up with the team, there wouldn't be the need for a backup goalie. So again, that's the big question mark.
Right.
Why is he still in the minors?
And there's one other thing I brought up on the stream last night. And that is that we've already lost Monty. We've already lost Connaughton. And we've had to send Knight down and not Johansson down, because we're heavy on the roster spots. And my point was, damn it, I wish you wouldn't have signed Joe Thornton, because that's a ridiculous bottom of the barrel depth player that we can't do anything about. Anybody else, somebody that's not a legend, you pick up a guy, it didn't work out, you let him go, you clear yourself some roster space. But that spot that Joe Thornton has taken is the reason why we keep having to play all these Russian roulette games with moving guys up and losing them and dropping them, because that spot is taken by a tree, hoping to maybe play in one playoff game and get a name on a cup. And I wasn't animated about it at the beginning. We were kind of like, where and why, but now looking back, I'm like, that's costing us. There's no way about it. So
I agree. I mean, it's not the salary. He's playing for, less than $1 million, but you're right. He's taking up a roster spot. And if they let him go now,
the league would kill us.
PR,
right.
Backlash is not going to be good for us. So.
I'm getting goosebumps. I don't want any action. I don't want yeah. It's just, no, man, that would be
but you make a very good point there. I mean, he hasn't played in 10 games, 15 games?
Yeah, at least. Right.
I mean, obviously, Tippett, we can see he's gone. He hasn't played.
I think he's in the AHL, actually, or hurt.
What's that?
He's either on IR or
yeah. He's back down. Yeah,
he's back down. Yeah, because he's got that two-way contract, so we're okay there.
Yeah.
So,
but the Thornton thing, you're absolutely right. I didn't even think about it until you just said that.
Yeah, we were talking
that again. That's like, why?
Right. Yeah.
Why? We didn't need him, and we said it at the time. I mean, it's a great story,
right?
For making a movie.
Yeah. Right.
The guy comes back, wins. It's the Ray Bork rerun.
Yeah. But
it's not going to happen unless we fix. We plug the holes that need to be plugged. So again, if you bring Knight back, then you don't need another goalie. I mean, I think Bob, it's all going to come down to Bob, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
But we know if Bob has a stinker, we can put Knight in there.
Right.
So I'm hoping that's the scenario.
I hope so
We
too.
concentrate, as far as a defenseman, the name that, somebody brought up, Giordano, and
Right.
I always liked him. I think he'd be good, but again, that's a, $6.5 million cap hit.
Yeah.
So again, we're kind of, we're really in a pickle as far as, the amount of money that we have to spend. So
Right. And
it's gonna take a miracle to see what Zito can come up with.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think it's an emergency situation where we have to do this, but again, you just, look at the roster and look at teams like, like Colorado and Tampa, and what can we beat these? Let's just stay in the East for right now.
Right.
Can we beat Tampa and Toronto with the team that we have? I say yes.
I say yes.
I say when we play our game like we played last night, okay, like we've played in those, 8-2, whatever, 6-1 in those games that we've just totally decimated the opposition.
Right.
Yes. Are we going to be able to do that in the playoffs on a consistent basis?
No,
I don't think so.
The other thing to that, and we talked about this a little bit, is they're going to be picking up guys too, and God help us if Claude Drew goes like to Tampa or something like that. I mean, it's subtraction by addition by the other team. You know what I mean? So we're looking at the rosters now, and there's a few guys out there that I'm sure there's 3 or 4 teams. Not only do they really want that guy, but more than that, you don't want the other teams to get him. And so a lot of that's going to all play out in these next few weeks.
And I don't know how Tampa does it. Every year they seem, how do they do that? Now again, I don't know. Is Kucherov on the LTR? I mean, is he back on the?
I don't know. I think
are they playing that game again?
I don't think so. I think they
I haven't seen him in the lineup.
I haven't.
The last couple of games, that I watched, highlights from, he wasn't there. I mean, Tampa lost to Pittsburgh last night, 5-1, and
Pittsburgh now, right?
Yeah, Pittsburgh, and I told you, Pittsburgh's got 76 points right now. They've come like out from nowhere.
Yeah, no, they were a bubble playoff team for first half of the season, and then all of a sudden they've taken off here, and they got players back, they got healthy. Pittsburgh doesn't really overly concern me so much as Tampa. I think we're good with Carolina. The Rangers, that's the team. Shesterkin. I could just smell it with getting goalie, because we are, and as we've seen these last weeks, we're capable of getting goalie.
I have a feeling. I just have this funny feeling that the Rangers are going to get beat by somebody before a possible matchup with them.
Right.
But we haven't played Toronto once this year.
No, I know.
And I'm curious to see how we match up with them.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you got the media thinking that, Toronto, Austin Matthews, blah, 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 Marner. I mean, they're a great team, but I'd like to see how we do against them.
Yeah.
Once and for all. I mean, the fact that 3/4 of the season has been played already, and we haven't played them once, is ridiculous.
And really, the winner of that series, I guess the way that to put it is, the winner of that series, I believe, will just avoid Tampa. Because, maybe. I don't know.
Again, we have to win it. Now you see why we have to win.
Right. Yeah. I do. Right. Yeah. Because if we lose those games, then we're looking at third place. And then at that point, we're still playing Toronto, and Tampa will play the wild card. So if we lose those games, then we're looking at third. And then we'll be playing the team that we lost to that put us in third place. So you're right. The Toronto wild card there of how we're going to match up, because you never know. I mean, on paper, you can't compare teams. They have to play and see how it goes, right? So yeah, that's a really good point. That's gonna decide a lot. And I mean,
And I think the team knows that.
I mean, you know me, I'll play wishful thinking. If we'll let Tampa win the division, we'll take second, we'll disperse. Hear me out.
I'm not.
We'll disperse with Toronto, and then Tampa is so exhausted from all the games that Boston actually beats them, and that still has us home ice against Boston. It could happen. And we avoid Tampa. The point there is we avoid Tampa.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
I want to avoid. Not that I'm afraid of teams. It's not that I'm afraid of teams. It's more of with Tampa and Colorado. It's just kind of because you're either evening the score or it's those bastards got us again. And we've played Boston one time in the playoffs. And what happened? You see what I'm saying? I'm feeling it.
On paper, nobody's beating Colorado this year.
Not right now. And then if they get Claude Giroux, no, not on paper.
Yeah, so that's one of the rumors. And you got two players right now that I think in their mind, they think that Colorado is the team. So you got Giroux and you got Fleury.
Right. Yeah. Jeez.
So if Colorado gets even one of those players, they've just become even more hard to beat.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. And again, where are they getting the money from?
Right. That's a good point.
So,
all right. You got anything else?
Huberdeau didn't get a point last night.
Yeah.
And Draisaitl had 2 goals. So
yeah,
I'm not saying he's fading. And you know what? We've come to expect him to get at least 2 points a night, and it ain't.
Right.
It's somebody tweeted that, and I know I answered back. You can't. I mean, we can expect him to get at least 2 points a night, but occasionally there's going to be a night even Ovechkin or McDavid or whoever McKinnon or whoever, they have nights where they don't. They don't score a goal.
Yeah.
And if you asked Huberdeau, he would say, I'd much rather have the win than
have the win. Yep.
So, but I just we have to get on a little run now.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yep.
We have to get on a little run.
Yep. No doubt. So
after the 3 losses, a 6-7 game win streak would be nice.
That's gonna be a project, because that includes that late game road trip, and then we get the break from that road trip. So that includes those 4 games that are 10 and 10-30. So
yeah, we still have to go out to the West Coast.
Yeah, we still got that. Yep.
That we have that swing. But you're right, man. I don't know what's going to happen with the goal situation, but when we get to those back-to-backs,
we got to know that.
Eventually, it's going to be Johansson or it's going to be somebody else. And if it's Johansson,
oh God, yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that can't happen. That can't happen.
Hey, what's up with that license plate behind you?
Oh, I've had that since. I've had that since before I had a car. This is Hall & Oates, Florida.
No, I know, but why is it
it's just
crooked like that? Just to fit it in the space?
Yeah, just to fit it in the space. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's got holes there, but if I put it straight, I kind of it looks stupid straight. You know what I mean?
I gotcha.
Yeah.
All right,
bud. This was good. I really appreciate it. Everybody, we appreciate who watches, who likes, who comments, who shares, the whole deal.
Yeah, let's hear some comments, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna be hiring somebody to monitor the comment section. So somebody will be replying to, might be Matthias, so don't be surprised if you don't understand the replies. That actually, I'm joking, but that actually would be fun if I told Matthias it was his job to respond to all the comments. I might do that for one video. And now I can't not do it now that I've had the idea.
Hey, listen, we got Detroit on Saturday. We got Detroit tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't take them lightly. They're the type of team that could beat us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, we can't take anybody lightly at this point.
So
yeah. All right, guys, we really appreciate it, and we will see you again Sunday morning.